Welcome into the Blitz Breakdown, live from downtown Indy for the NFL Combine. This is the first, I believe this is the first actual Blitz Breakdown that we've done live and on video. So you're welcome. And I'm here with a majority of the Blitz team. I got Alexander Amir, Ryan Lippert, Ashton Moore, y'all know me, I'm Jack Bourgeois, and then our master scout, our scouting encyclopedia, Roy Countryman, who is going to walk us through everything that he's seen yesterday. We're just going to have an open-ended conversation about what we've seen, what we liked, what we didn't like. We got to start off with the 40 times. Nobody broke it.
Shame.
Yeah, it is a shame.
Told you it wasn't going to happen.
You did. You proved me wrong, Alexander.
What did you expect Rhodes was going to run?
I thought he was going to run like low 4.2s, like 4.21, but 4.22 is just, I guess, out of reach for him. Although I got
starts though. I think if he had better starts, he might have beaten it for sure.
Both of them are more than likely he's going to be just. I want to see the pro day because it has a good opportunity that number might be a lot lower.
Pro day stopwatch is a little faster.
Exactly. You might have like 4.18 or something when it comes to Alabama. So
Yeah, I think that's what Nagy said, that he clocked him at a 4.18. He has to have a slow thumb for sure. For sure has a slow thumb.
There's some wind that day too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Justin Jefferson ran really well, and I gotta ask, man, what is your deal with Justin Jefferson? What don't you like about him?
I just think his upside is like a really great number 2. I just don't think he's the number 1. That's just my personal opinion. When I go to scouting, it's always gut feeling for me, and it's not saying that he's not going to be a quality contributor. I just think he's going to be best fit in like a big slot type role where he can dominate against inside guys. He did run a 4.44, I believe. So, I mean, he has the speed, but I don't know. Just it's something about him. I don't think he's going to be that 1A type receiver all the time. I think he's going to be a really great number 2. It's going to need a great running mate to make him better.
I mean, he's like rock solid with his hands and rock solid with his route running. So, like, it's a perfect number 2. Like, stick him on a team like the Saints or the Packers that has like a bona fide number 1. I think that's an outstanding fit. I think he might go in the late first round to a team like the Saints or Packers, even though he's not necessarily a first round talent in my eyes or Roy's eyes or other people's eyes. If they're trying to win now, like, he's probably one of the most pro-ready receivers in the class.
He's going to have some of the best statistics in year 1. He's going to be one of the quality contributors right off the bat. He'll have an 8 to 10 year career. It's going to be, sure he's going to make a few Pro Bowls, but I just think the upside against some of these other guys has a better benefit, like a Henry Ruggs. That speed, his route running ability, and everything.
They're different classes.
Yeah,
Right.
He's a jack of all trades, a master of none.
Right.
Nothing like flashes off the film, but he's just a solid prospect. I really like him as like you said, he's probably going to be a number 2. He's not going to be a number 1. But it doesn't matter. Depending on where he goes, he could have a very successful career, and then could end up being a number 1. Who says his route running isn't crisp enough for him to be, getting wide open? He may. And with a 4.4, running a 4.4, who's to say that he can't blow by the defender? So we'll see. I do think that his stats were peppered because he had Joe Burrow throwing to him.
And Jamar Chase on the outside.
I was going to mention.
Jamar Chase is a real dude. Like,
He's the alpha.
Yeah.
He's your alpha. Your second fiddle was Jefferson.
Top 5 pick next year, dude. He's unreal.
Easily. Yeah.
All right, guys. Who else stood out yesterday? I know we hear Love made some damn good throws. I'm very excited about what my boy from Utah State's going to do. Who else stood out?
I got to go to my tight ends because everybody knows I'm a tight end guy. But 2 guys, Okwe Boonham, when that guy at, 258 or 260, runs a 4.49 his first attempt and a 4.50 just to legitimize it. That speed, a lot of people were questioning it on tape, but he manhandles people blocking. He'll go up over people, and that number on top, that's going to solidify him in the top 3 in this class as a tight end. Just his all-around ability. And Adam Troutman, he kind of disappointed, I'll say a little bit with his 40 time. I think it was like 4.8, right around there for the equivalent of it. But his 3-cone time really rang true. It would have been second best for the receiver class if you're even comparing him to them at a 6, 7, 8. And it really just brought it home after we got to see him live at the Senior Bowl practices. Vertically, he can win, especially with his height. He's able to go over people. But the ability to get in and out of his routes, that 3-cone time kind of showed that and checked that box to say he can win in and out. And he's a complete tight end. He's my number 1 tight end in this class. Even as a small school kid, he's going to be a force in year 1.
What's your Sorry, what's your projection for him right now, draft-wise? Like, you thinking he's a day 2?
I think he's going to be an early day 2 pick. I mean, if somebody's really desperate for a tight end at the end of round 1, it's possible, especially with the upside with NFL coaching, with that small school ability. When I went into his tape, I really thought he was going to be an all-catch guy, no block, and I was vastly surprised. He mauls people in the running game. He has a want-to and a willingness to it, and he's definitely a high second rounder. He should be one of them quality contributors on day 2. You know, for a Pittsburgh team, you know, like I love, he'd be a quality guy to replace a Vance McDonald and be an inline guy. They can pull him and block like that. He'd be a perfect fit.
I could most certainly see a team like the Patriots dropping back like they always do and taking him at the top of the second round.
Yeah, you take him like
he is
pick
a
38
perfect
or so,
fit,
yeah.
exactly what Bill Belichick's looking for. Bill Belichick doesn't need insane measurables. He doesn't need a high 40 time. I was kind of shocked at the disparage between the 40 and the cone. So that shows that he's quick, and we've seen it, but he's just not straight line speed. But he's got playing speed. He's going to be that Jason Witten type, where he can get open even if he can't blow by you.
And as a tight end, like that's really one of my least concerns. If you have the
Right.
speed, like you can get down the seam, like
If you can get me 20 yards down the seam, that's fine. I don't need to hit you a 40-yarder. If you
run
do
routes
40,
as a
great,
tight end,
but
if you can run routes as a tight end, like and he's like a nasty blocker, he loves to block too. So I agree, he's an all-around package.
I'm a big Alberto guy, so I think he could be nasty. And, I mean,
he is. And that's when you watch his tape, a lot of people kind of knock him for his athleticism. But him making the statement here is going to make a lot of people go back from Indy. And that's the one thing when you're watching all these times come in. You don't want to change your grade vastly just because he worked out well. But in his case, he's going to force a lot of people to go back and be like, did I miss something? Because he does win routes vertically. It's just he never, beat them by 5 yards. It was always within a half yard or a yard going down the seam. But as Alexander already mentioned, you can give me 15-yard gains down the seam all day long. I'm happy. I want my chain mover. I want a reliable target as a tight end.
Yeah, I know his name kind of has some negative connotations these days, but I saw Aaron Hernandez when I watched Alberto in the sense he can make his playmaking. He's smooth when he makes catches. What he was doing after the catch didn't look like a tight end. He looked like that Y slot guy who you just gave the ball to him and he made things happen. And throughout this whole process, I've really enjoyed seeing him, and it even made me more happy to see him be at top of it with the 40s.
One guy that surprised me, though, was Komet. He did test pretty well here. I'm actually not one of his biggest fans. I had him outside of my top 10 just because I don't think he plays up to it. I think he's one of them guys that might have a lot of rawness to him. He needs a lot of refinement. And to me, he's like a quality number 2 tight end. I just don't see that upside, and you have guys like a Hunter Bryant. He didn't test well here, but when you put on the tape, he's a physical mismatch. Whenever you put him in the passing game, he's not going to win you a lot of reps in line because he's only a 238, I believe. Exactly. So he's going to be your chess piece type, but I don't see Komet being the upside. Like, he has a lot of raw ability, but he needs a lot of refinement, and that's why I'm so low on him. But it was nice to see his testing numbers come in, and I might force me to go back and look and see if I didn't, maybe miss a little bit of what he showed us here. So.
All right, our peanut gallery over here in the corner has been kind of quiet. I don't like it. All right, guys.
Ryan, who do you like?
Ryan, who stood out most to you? Who earned themselves some money and who lost themselves some money?
Well, a guy that stood out that I think probably stood out to a lot of people is Chase Claypool, man. A lot of people were thinking he's going to switch to tight end, but he ran, a 4.43 yesterday. So that kind of showed that he has the speed to play receiver. But as we were kind of talking yesterday, that could make him some money at tight end too with that athleticism. I haven't seen him much as a blocker, but I liked him on Notre Dame as a receiver, so I think he could stay if the right team takes him in that position.
Do you think Chase Claypool is going to be the first tight end off the board then?
Wouldn't go that far. I'd say between maybe second and fourth tight end.
Okay.
I was just about to say, I think it's very possible, like the way he ran, if teams are talking about putting him at tight end, and if he did put out these numbers at the combine, there's a good chance he becomes like the first tight end. You don't even know, you probably won't know if a team's even planning to use him as a wide receiver or tight end if he is taken, early second round as the first tight end off the board. But I could totally see, once the season starts, lining him up at tight end, he'll be the first one that was taken?
It'll have to be, especially you'll have to watch whenever they announce him being picked.
Yeah.
Is he going to be announced as a receiver?
Yeah.
Is he going to be announced as a tight end?
Yeah.
And look for somebody maybe from that coaching tree in Oakland or Las Vegas as it is now, because Darren Waller's a very similar type player. He's basically a big wideout, great speed, a mismatch kind of guy. He doesn't, he got better at blocking with time. And Claypool's ahead of him right now, in my opinion, with blocking ability. We've seen it live, and the want-to in there, and the ability, he didn't do it a lot at Notre Dame. He can be physical and nasty when it comes to blocking. So if he really commits full time to a tight end, he's in my top 5 tight ends, before the combine here.
They could just announce him as athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
He mauled guys in Mobile. He mauled every DB that he faced. Now, can he maul a linebacker like that? Well,
Right.
it's yet to be seen, but he's got the build to do it. He's already a big boy. They moved him to tight end. He's only going to add probably another 10, 15 pounds.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need it, though. He really doesn't. He's probably what the same size as Waller is right now. I think.
Yeah, he might be heavier than Waller right now coming into the combine.
So it's not even necessarily needed, but he's got the skill set. Does he have the play strength to do that against? If he has to chip a DN, can he do that? Which I think he can, but we won't know until the next year.
That might be one of them upside picks. Year 3, if he's fully committed to being a tight end, sky's the limit for this guy, because his want-to and his ability as a route runner is great. He can separate. I'm not sure he plays up to that 4.4 speed. I didn't see that on tape, but his ability to go up the catch point over people, his long arms, strong hands in combat situations, that's all a great mixture whenever you're looking for a tight end. And if he sells out, as he already did, basically coming here at 238, you're already kind of making the statement that you're all right being a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And who's to say maybe a team will want him at receiver, will drop a little bit of weight, might get even a little quicker, which is scary to think. But
It's a copycat league these days, anyways. If he plays somewhat similar in the style to Darren Waller, there are going to be other offensive coordinators that are going to be looking
Absolutely.
to implement that type of role into their offense.
Absolutely.
And I hadn't really considered him yet, but I thought that's a good comp. I like that.
Do you guys think that CeeDee Lamb earned himself some money yesterday running the 4.5? Because I know there was talks about him running the 4.6 in high school, and him being his play speed being different than his 40 time. He was only 500ths slower than Jerry Jeudy, so really they're right on par for being about as fast, equally as fast. Do you guys think that he could possibly move up into that number 1? I know both of you two have him as your
I
number
saw
1 wide
Judy's my
receiver.
number 1 actually.
Oh, do you?
So
Okay.
he's right there, and I think the 40 time I wasn't too surprised about. 4.5 felt about right. Even though Lamb doesn't pop off on tape with his speed, he still has it.
Still
You
plus
see
athlete.
when he has the ball in his hands, you see it. He's an overall impressive athlete, and the speed. That wasn't too much of a surprise, but I think the gauntlet drill really showed what he could do. He was on the line the entire time, just so easy catching the ball, and like Roy mentioned, Roy loves his body control. He made that one crazy catch when he was being thrown the fade. He turns around midair, catches the ball at his apex, and gets 2 feet in.
Yes.
It was impressive.
Whenever you watch a guy, I always try to find a word that'll stick out in my head. And every time I watch CeeDee Lamb, whether it was whenever my boy Murray was coming out and he was throwing him passes, along the sideline, was poetry in motion. This guy, it just looks like if you slowed it down and put music to it, I could watch it all night. That's
Titanic
simply
music in the background.
that's simply the way he plays, and it's just ridiculous to see how he makes these one-handed grabs, his hand strength, his hand coordination, his body control, on top of being able to win routes even without upper echelon deep speed. And I'm the same way when it comes to receivers, and when I evaluate receivers, I don't look for the elite speed. If you can get me the 20-yard gains, I'm fine. If you win me the route 60 yards and get me a touchdown, that's great too, which he's had the ability to win. He got, as you said, he's smooth on a straight line in and out of his routes. He has strength at the catch point, combat ability. I just don't have no downside on him. There's hardly anything, and I'm not trying to knock Jerry Jeudy either. It's really do you want salt or pepper? That's all, you're not going to lose with either one of these guys. And they both are well warranted within the top 10. They should go within there, and I want my boy CeeDee Lamb to go back to Arizona and team up and make some more magic happen.
Man, they don't need any more.
I want to see it. I want to see him go with Larry Legend and learn some more secrets of the trade.
Yeah, I think I want to see CeeDee Lamb in Vegas, and I don't think they might have to move up now after after running the 4.5. But yeah, you see it, like you said, it is perfectly. That's a perfect description of poetry in motion. So we're watching him extend his body out and be able to catch that, like he said at the apex. It was just very, very impressive.
How high up are you going to have to trade to get into that realm for the Judys and Lambs? Where are we at now?
I think it depends how the tackles go, and it depends like what happens to the quarterbacks, because if
There's going to be a tackle run.
There are talks about
There's a tackle run. Once
right. I mean, those 4 tackles are going in the top 15, maybe even the top 11 or 12. There are talks about like the Lions perhaps taking Tua. There are talks about the Redskins looking at quarterbacks. If those guys go like Tua and Burrow go like 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, like what do the Dolphins do? Do they take Herbert there? Do they take Love there? What do the Panthers do if
Tua goes to Washington, what happens with Chase Young?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Who's coming up for Chase Young? Because I can guarantee you right now, I don't know if Detroit would pick him because of the massive amount of draft capital you might be able to procure from that.
Yeah.
The massive amount, like Tua, if Washington, as they're saying right now, they're interviewing him here, which I don't take a lot of weight for any interviews of all-star games or combine, like we can all agree. If you bring him in for a visit to your building, then I'm seeing it's a legitimate interest.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't see why you wouldn't as Washington. You have a new head coach. If you're not sold on Haskins, let it be a Rosen and Murray situation. See what you bring him into the building. If you want to get rid of Haskins during draft weekend, you make it happen. But that would just be total anarchy for draft weekend for all of us, because it's pretty much been wrote in Sharpie that it's been Burrow and Young 1 and 2. And that would be an interesting dynamic to see for Rivera making that call right off the bat. And it would actually help them in their case if that's what they're not sold on Haskins, to a lot of outside free agents to be able to say, Snyder's not the one pulling the strings. Neither was the president, Bruce Allen, isn't here no more. If my coach says that he don't like my quarterback and he wants this guy, we're going to listen to what he says. I think that would be massive for their outside opinion for players and maybe wanting to become a destination for free agency. Because they've always been willing, the Hainsworths, the Normans, to pay the top dollar. And now if you are willing to pay the top dollar, and now you're showing a commitment to your coaching staff rather than maybe one of your good old boys or your buddies, it could be massive, guys. And I'd be interested to see. You guys always know I like playing the, shake everything up. Let's see where the lottery, balls fall.
It'll make draft day super fun. But like back to what Ashton was talking about, if you think about like who's in the top 10, you have the 4 tackles, you have at least 3 quarterbacks, and then you have Isaiah Simmons, Jeffrey Okudah, and Derek Brown. That's already 10 picks right there. Judy and Lamb could both very easily be there for like picks 11, 12, 13, 4, like whatever that is. So.
And if Ruggs runs a 4.21 on his birthday, I mean, then he's back in that conversation.
Like a team like the Raiders for some reason might value Ruggs over them, like value Ruggs' speed, and probably not.
Depends on who's throwing the ball in Vegas, because if it's Carr, he ain't gonna be able to hit him after 35, 40 yards. And if it's Tom Brady, you can say the same thing. He ain't hitting him after 15, 20 yards. So that just depends on who's there. And the whole quarterback free agency is going to change this entire conversation, depending on where Rivers goes, depending on where Brady goes, depending on what happens with Dak Prescott. There's so many unknowns right now. There's unknown unknowns. Like, we don't know what it's going to be in a month or 2 months, let alone come draft day. Like this year more than ever, we do not know. Like, you can call yourself an expert all you want. We know just about as much as the bum on the street, like right now, who's talking crap about Burrow, saying he's not going number 1. Like, we don't know. We have no idea, and that's the best part. I think this year there's going to be more headlines. There's going to be more stories. There's going to be more suspense and drama built into this than ever before. Like, good luck with your mock drafts this year, because they're not going to be right.
Trades, I see a lot of trades too. Like, I don't see how Detroit stays. And once that starts going, I mean, who else is going to get into that whole trade market? I mean, there's so many polarizing picks this year or just overall players that it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun offseason.
Yep. Anybody else, guys, that stood out to you before we go into day 2?
We're good. Just a preview.
Yeah, let's preview. We'll preview tonight's stuff for you guys, and then get on out of here. What do we have? Running backs?
Offensive linemen and some specialists.
Okay. Running backs for you. I know you're huge on Hellier.
I actually like Sebo Olanolua. is my running back.
Yep.
I gotta throw my boy out there. I did an article for him
Hell yeah.
before. He's 6'3", 225, guys. He threw up 25 reps already in the bench press. And don't be surprised if he runs a 4.4 today at 230 pounds. He's a physical freak in the weight room. He shows it on the field. I want to see it, and I'd like to bring him home to Pittsburgh. But I think he's gonna be a real riser after a lot of people get to see those triangle numbers he puts up.
You couldn't pick a better season for him to come out with, either with Derrick Henry's whole hype that he's coming with, and now he's asking for Ezekiel Elliott type money, but that's in people's minds. Again, it's a copycat league, so teams are going to start looking at, wow, that'd be really cool if we could have our own Derrick Henry, and now you got this guy coming out who's so about maybe same athleticism.
A great pass catcher too. He split carries a lot at TCU, and I know that kind of bothered him a little bit that he was never the alpha and he wants that opportunity to be the lead dog in a backfield. And I think he's being slept on a lot here. I think he might have an opportunity to jump into that day 2, maybe late second round, third, and if he gets an opportunity to be the lead back, he could be a real winner in this class.
I'll take the Clyde Edwards-Helaire that you were going to ask Roy, because he's also my number 1 running back. I think his contact balance is just, like, he's 5, sure, he's 5'7", like maybe one of the bigger running back, but his contact balance is nuts. His, like, lateral agility, not even just, like, the one cut, like the DeAndre Swift, like, one cut, shoot up the hole, but the way he just can make someone miss, like, stop on a dime, move laterally, like, a half yard, and just burst upfield, it's nuts. It's exactly what you want from, like, a modern type running back. He can catch the ball much, I don't think, this year, but, like, just stick him in space, and he's so tough to bring down.
They played him out at wide receiver a lot.
That's true.
They split him out at outside wide receiver, not even at slot. And his ability to win in short areas, he has patience to be able to, pick up his blocks and then hit that speed button right after he finds a crease. So it's going to be real interesting to see how high he can go, and I think he's my number 1 back in my opinion.
Really?
And exactly, him and J.K. Dobbins are hand in hand as the top backs in this class for me. I know you have the Jonathan Taylors and a lot of other quality backs, DeAndre Swift. It's just I like those 2 guys better. Whenever we're looking for it.
He's been picking up quite a bit of steam this past month, and I'm surprised to see as many people hopping on that bandwagon of him being RB1. I don't see him necessarily being that workhorse type guy that you typically see with the RB1. He's more of like the Eckler role where you just get him the ball and he could do it. But if we're talking RB1, I want someone who can get all the carries with it. So that's why I like Dobbins. I'm a Dobbins guy personally, and I mean Swift is right there as well. Just with that, I don't know.
All right, so as a KC fan, so for me, all these running backs are all so tight.
Yeah.
Like I have on my big board, I have them all bunched together because I just can't really pick, and it depends on what you need. It depends on what you need at running back. I think if I am a team like KC, I'm valuing a DeAndre Swift more than I am valuing these other guys, even though they do need a pounder between the tackles tight. But then that shows your hand. Like DeAndre Swift can still do a majority of that. Maybe not as well. Maybe he's not the best, goal line back. But when you think about, a Sammy Watkins, you think about a Tyreek Hill, you think about a Patty Mahomes. That is a scary, scary offense.
Absolutely.
So would you still take Dobbins?
I mean, if you're asking what I think KC should do, it should be avoid running back altogether in the first 2 days. I mean, they've done pretty well at finding gold and trash heaps with Damian Williams, and I mean, they had Carlos Hyde even.
You might even have one on roster. I loved your boy Darwin
Thompson
last year.
Don't sleep on Darwin. Yeah, that's our.
He came from Utah State. He needs some adjustment time, so don't sleep on Darwin.
Dude. He could be a lot of fun. But yeah, if I were to take anyone, though, I'd probably go Dobbins just because of, again, I like that workhorse. If I'm investing highly in a running back, I want someone that I can invest highly in snaps. And I'm just a little hesitant with Edwards personally. But I get it. I think he's a great player. Awesome, just overall production.
It's kind of the same argument, though, with Judy and CD. In my opinion, with Helaire and Dobbins, I'm like, I'm hard to find, the difference between the two.
It's
when it
cool we
comes
have
to
this
my
many
comebacks.
positions with that many top options that are all like interchangeable. Like even
Yeah.
the quarterback position, like if Tua's healthy, like no, it's could be a conversation. All right. And then you have that running back, you have that tackle, you have that wide receiver. I just don't really remember the last time it was like this.
Yeah, DBs. I mean, there's so many positional groups that are just
Neck and neck.
stacked this year more than ever. I'm excited, man. This is gonna be a good year. I think the one thing I like, for me personally, I'm a huge Jonathan Taylor fan. Obviously, the fumbling issues are gonna be an issue, and you have to understand that there's only gonna be so much tread on those tires left after him running for back to back 1900 plus yard seasons. So to me, he's my favorite one because he's the sprinter. He's got the speed. He's got the power. He's got the vision. He's just a smooth runner. And so, again, it's nitpicking, but I think if he can fix the fumbling issue, which is typically hard for running backs to do, they carry the ball loose in Pop Warner. They're going to carry the ball loose in junior high and high school and college and pro. But if he can fix that one issue, that's the only issue he's got. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's not necessarily somebody who can line up in the slot or anything like that, but he can catch the ball in the backfield and he can pass block. He probably is the best pass blocker out of all three of those backs. 4 of those backs that we're talking about. That's where I want to see where he goes because I think he's one of those few players that can take a good team to a great team. And I think any of these running backs can do it. My one issue with Swift. Sorry. I need more coffee. Coffee, please. With Swift is, and I was saying this to Robert on the drive up here, is that Reggie Bush wasn't Reggie Bush once he got in the NFL. Like, you can't break ankles in pro like you can in college because everybody is the most athletic guy that was on that college football field. So when all the linebackers are running 4.5s and 4.6s and 4.4s, when you look at a Deion Jones and a Quan Alexander, like they're that fast. You're not going to be able to break those ankles as much. Like we haven't seen somebody be as shifty of a back going from college to pro. So I think he's going to take a huge hit. And it just depends on which situation he goes to. And if he's treated like a Alvin Kamara and given the ball in space and not just being a workhorse, I think that's where he's going to shine. That's where I have an issue with Swift. His best talents aren't necessarily going to translate.
One of the guys, too, that we haven't even talked about here, and he's one of my favorite running backs, is the Utah running back, Zach Moss. Whenever you want to talk about a nasty disposition, that guy finishes his runs. He's not going to cheat you out of any carry that he's on the field. Now, does he have injury questions? Absolutely. Does he have a lot of tread left on the tire? It's a good question. But this testing today is going to say a lot about him. If he runs a 4.4 or a 4.45 at his weight at 230 pounds and how thick he is, you're talking about pass protection. That's the one guy I've seen be able to absolutely shut down people as a third down option. One-on-one. His technique is some of the best I've seen coming from the college ranks to be able to translate in the NFL. And if he's able to, check the boxes and be able to take away some of the concerns injury-wise, you might get a second-day pick there that's going to really outperform his draft slot.
You think he can go in the second day too?
If he can calm the concerns about the injury problems,
Yeah.
absolutely. He was a workhorse at Utah. He could be a similar back like that in the NFL. It's just the longevity. Are you going to get him in a second contract? But when we see with running backs, who cares? Who cares? Because they're only going to get probably one contract.
Yeah, PFF has Moss as their number 1 running back too. So I mean, the hype is starting to build for him, and if he can crush it today, I mean, that conversation can get.
I think
really
he averaged, like almost on a per carry basis, he averaged a broken tackle. Like that's why they have him so high in their rankings.
It's him and
so,
Keyshawn Vaughn, who's another underrated running back from Vanderbilt. He's always makes the first guy miss, whether it's running through him or missing a guy in space because the offensive line was absolutely horrendous. If he was able to run behind Alabama or Auburn's offensive line, you're probably talking about him in the same breath as Jonathan Taylor and a lot of these other guys. It's just he never had any offensive line help whatsoever, and he can also chip in the passing situation. So if you lose out on a guy like a Edwards-Helaire, a Dobbins, a Taylor, maybe in the first to second to maybe early third, don't worry, there's still guys out there you're going to get, and that's the declassification of the top running back class and free agents. You can see you can get guys late. and the quality of depth is always going to be there.
Vaughn's problem was he was literally all Vanderbilt had on that offense too, so it was kind of hard for him to shine in the SEC this year.
Absolutely, and they mismanaged their talent with Pinckney too. They had the tight end. They had a quarterback who couldn't even complete a pass to Ashton, standing this far away, and he was a transfer. He was a grad transfer from Ball State, Riley Neal.
Is that because Ashton can't catch, or?
Well, no,
he
Don't
can't?
he
doubt
literally
he
would
can,
have.
dog.
He probably would have hit the brick wall before it hit him.
Yeah.
That's how bad his touch was.
Catch radius is there.
And I mean, that's the kind of stuff you look for in scouting. What we all love about it, and these guys that. Everybody can talk about the Jonathan Taylors and whatnot, but guys like that are the ones going to make somebody money.
Those are the ones I'm looking for. I want those late round guys that don't cost much. I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying to save money at the running back position.
Exactly.
100% agree. I'll take Zach Moss in the third round over any of these guys in the first.
I don't think Moss will make it to the third though. The way it seems to go.
I don't know. There's so many running backs though. But again, it's like what kind of running back do you need?
Who goes in the first? Like, I could see a realistic situation that no running backs go in the first because of
There's
the
so
amount
many
of
of
talent,
them.
like the amount of wide receiver talent that there is. There's like it's such a stacked draft at the high end. Like there's so much high end talent that I could totally see running backs just falling on the
I
side.
agree with you wholeheartedly. You could see a ton of tackles, a ton of receivers, defensive play, either pass rushers,
Corners.
interiors, corners, and even some safeties late round one. And then the second round gets kicked off with pretty much all running backs and maybe tight ends.
Yeah, and then the rest of the whatever
Right.
wide receivers are still lingering.
And it's a very real possibility. And then you might start seeing some interior linemen because there's no interior linemen, in my opinion, that are worth a first round pick.
There really isn't. I'm so excited about the offensive tackles. I'm kind of meh about any of these
Biadasz
inside
is
guys.
the best one, or the best
Yeah,
center.
who's the best center?
Tyler Biadasz from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's better than Cesar Ruiz or like Cushionberry, but I mean.
Cushionberry's
yeah,
lengthy.
solid, but-
He's got decent technique, decent hands, but his his play strength is just not
Yeah,
there.
the anchor's
He's
not
gonna
there.
get wrecked in the next level,
Yeah.
like wrecked. And everybody, when I really broke down the film, again, he sits low, he gets into it, but as soon as he's facing a big boy that's athletic, it's all she wrote.
I mean, imagine going against
every-
like a Blacklock or a Gallup, like even just out of this class, like
Yeah.
against defensive tackles in this class. Like,
yeah,
absolutely.
Kinlaw murked him. And,
Yeah.
like the 2 days Kinlaw was there, he made him his bitch. Like, let's just call it what it is. Sorry. But, I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
So, I don't see any of those guys going day one. I don't even think they're probably going to be mid-first at best, and that's if you need it. But I just really, the tackle and the guards, Damian Lewis, everybody talked about LSU's, offensive line being amazing. Go watch the Bama film. They got destroyed. Burrow is just good enough to either take a step to the left and take a step to the right or roll out and be able to make, buy himself some time. That's what the most impressive thing about Burrow this whole year was the fact that he was under pressure the entire time and was still making amazing plays because he keeps his eyes downfield. He knows where his 1, his 2, his 3, his 4, and his 5, 5th option are all time.
That's why he's pro ready also. Like,
That's why
he's like the consensus #1 pick because he did that all year.
All year long.
His
Like,
ability
that
to
was
win when the
shaking
play
off
breaks
his
He
line.
knew
down.
exactly
Yes.
where everyone was. He knows the field so well. It's unbelievable.
Typically, you see quarterbacks give gifts to the offensive line. That should be vice versa for the LSU
Yeah.
situation. Like
Yeah.
they should all buy Joe Burrow a
Yeah,
nice
Christian
gift
Joe
for
is
making him
serious.
actually notable when it comes down
Joe
to actual
Ronas
prospects.
5
Yeah.
Rolex
5
watches.
Rolexes.
all in one hand.
Well, you'll be able to afford it soon.
Oh.
But from a preview standpoint, this time tomorrow, who are we going to talk about really raise their stock from today's combine? So we have the running backs and offensive line. Who are you thinking is going to show out and make some money?
I think he's going to continually ride the wave, and it's the lineman that stood out at the Senior Bowl, Ben Barch. Everybody kind of wasn't sure who this guy even was. He's a Division III lineman from St. John's. Ali Marpet, excuse me, already reached out to him. We heard that he's trying to help him out in the transition from such a small school up. And he made money in the Senior Bowl because everybody thought he was going to have to kick inside the guard. He dominated on left tackle. He was able to match up and mirror.
What's his measurements looking like?
I
like an overall
He's
size.
6'6", about 300 some pounds. He's a big athlete. He got good enough length to stick outside. I don't think he can be left tackle, but he might prove me wrong. I mean, Kelvin Beachum used to start at left tackle for the Jets and Steelers, and he had terrible measurement skills. But that guy, I think his athleticism, if he can check some boxes there, after proving himself in the competition level at the Senior Bowl, going to solidify him as a round 2 player, in my
He
opinion.
used to be a tight end.
Yes, he
a tight
was.
End, I think back in tight end like early on, and then he just gained a ton of weight. I heard like his nasty protein shakes that he drank, like Gatorade and stuff. But like he used to be a tight end, so he has the movement skills from being a tight end, and now he's just a big boy. He's 6'6", 309.
I would not be surprised if he goes before Josh Jones.
I would take that. I like him better than Josh Jones.
Me too. I think Josh Jones is a lot more of a raw prospect.
I think he's a better athlete in space.
That's what we're gonna find. We're gonna find that out.
Yep,
We're gonna
we'll
find
see.
that
We'll
out
see her
today.
shortly. But that's the conversations might be taking place after if he's checking them boxes.
And I think athleticism could really dictate the top four. You know, if
I think Becton's going like
If
if Becton puts up some like crazy 3-cone numbers.
If we start seeing some Don Terry Poe numbers of him running, I'm out.
Yeah.
David Gettleman is
David
already
Gettleman,
sprinting to the
yeah,
podium.
yeah, right on the podium.
To sign that
I want
card.
Isaiah Simmons so bad. for the
I
Giants,
want him.
but
I
it's
want
gonna
him.
be Becton.
I want him for the Bucks.
There's no way he gets to the Bucks.
Come
No
on.
chance.
Please,
No chance.
please. Oh man.
So,
Okay.
March.
Barch,
guy.
yeah, Ben Barch.
You
Ben
feeling
Barch.
Josh? He's
Again, like Mekhi Becton, I think is going to be the one who's going to earn himself that top 5 draft pick.
So good.
But then again, it depends on the interviews. It depends on what they need. If they need a right tackle, maybe they go elsewhere.
Just trying to talk yourself into
I'm
it.
trying. Yeah, I'm just trying to make it talking into existence.
If
The
you have
Bucks
the
are-
Cardinals, the Browns, and the Jets picking for and the Giants before picking for the Bucks, there's no way.
Oh God.
Maybe you get up to Detroit and get him.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trading up. I'm not trading up. Never
You
trade up.
franchise tag
Never
Winston and trade him to Detroit.
We'll see. There's going to be some amazing prospects at where the Bucks are, so they're going to land somebody either way. But they definitely need offensive tackle help big time, with Amir Dotson likely leaving. So for me, it's him. And then I'll say I think if either Zach Moss or Jonathan Allen have an insane 40 time, then they're definitely going to be in the conversation. Joe, what about you? What do you guys think is going to stand out today, or could earn themselves some money?
You're first while I'm trying to think of one.
Like I said, I really like Jonathan Taylor. He's my personal most complete back, and I'd like to see him, like you said, run a really good 40 time today. I think if he runs a good 40 time, he could be, late first round. I really do.
Saints.
Thanks.
Yeah, Rob's personal favorite fit. He's going to be the new Mark Ingram to Alvin Kamara.
They need a Mark Ingram
Yep.
to have Alvin Kamara back, because Alvin Kamara was the
That would
shell
be a
of
perfect
himself.
fit for his skill set.
Yes.
Kind of play that. He's a little bit shorter than Ingram, but he's kind of
Yeah, but then
stocky.
but he can catch the ball out of the backfield too. So then why do you need Alvin Kamara?
Right.
So why?
Like you said, like you can't
That's-
really plan on anything at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, anything goes. And you do a wingback set. Oh, it's so exciting.
I
I
want.
love that.
If I have my way, the Bucks are taking Mekhi Becton, and then they're taking Edwards-Helaire in the second. That's what
I
I
love
would
that
love.
fit.
Love.
That's
It ain't
what
gonna
I
happen.
need to wake you up.
It ain't
Yeah,
gonna
wake him up.
happen.
Anyways, he needs the coffee.
I need
Starbucks,
the
we
coffee.
need you to sponsor
A
these
man
things.
can dream. Okay? Let me dream. Okay.
So I guess for me, I don't think it's necessarily a specific prospect. If you look at how the tackle class is structured, you have like the top 4 tackles between Becton, Wirfs, Wilson, Thomas. I think it's we mentioned Barch, we mentioned Josh Jones, but I think it's gonna be really big for like that second wave of tackles. But like it's gonna happen in the second round for teams that need it. If you look at like the bottom 15 or bottom 17 teams. Like after pick 15 in the first round, I think that's all going to be like wide receivers, corners, maybe some defensive tackles. You're going to really see like the second tier of offensive tackles happening in the second round. So I think whoever can run like a great 3-cone today, did they bench already?
Yeah, I believe they already benched
Yeah.
him.
So whatever they can put up, I think that'll help differentiate the
One of the
tackle
guys too, it's going to really, the medicals are going to mean more than anything. Lucas Niang from TCU. If you're looking for a right tackle, ready to step in, be a starter, we talked earlier, he had a hip injury. It really, if you watch his tape this year, you might as well throw it in the garbage can because he was not able to pass that.
Yep.
He was that injured. He wound up mailing it in the rest of the year and got the surgery to fix it. If he's able to do on-field workouts today and prove that he's able to move as in 3 cones, as you said, that's going to be a big check mark for him. And he's really going to jump up aboard, in that conversation with a Barch and Josh Jones, that he's right in the conversation there for me because he is able to collapse a line of scrimmage when he's run blocking. And I got to see that with Alana Lua. I mean, he was able, when he down blocks, you're talking about a Flozell Adams type of tackle. And if you remember Flozell Adams in his prime for Dallas, he was simply able to reestablish the line of scrimmage 5 yards down the field because he was that massive of a human being. So that TCU program, look out for a lot of their players this weekend. You had Rager yesterday. You have Alana Lua and Yang. Darius Anderson.
I'm a big glad.
Yeah, Blacklock.
Yang's 2018 film was impressive. I remember watching him last year, and I was very impressed. And I think he could be one of those day 2 steals. There's going to be a lot of guys. Who do you guys think that's likely going to go day 2 that will all end up looking back on and go, how the hell did he make it that far?
So Rieger had a great combine, but I think with the strength of the receiver class,
Kind of he underperformed. We all thought he was going to run a 4.2 though.
Rieger?
Yeah.
He put on a lot of weight. I think maybe
there was talks that he was going to be in contention with Ruggs.
I don't know. After watching him on film, I don't think his speed. I mean, no one's speed matches Ruggs. I love Rieger's acceleration with the ball in his hands, but if you just look at his straight line speed, I think it's a little not underwhelming, obviously, but it's not like a 4.2 level. But I think Rieger could definitely be one of the first wide receivers taken in the second round, and with the strength of the class, I can totally see that happening. But I also love him, and I think he could. We could look back and after Judy, Lamb, and Ruggs, who I think are going to have outstanding pro careers, I think Rieger could be the next best receiver that we see.
You put him over Ayuk?
Yeah, he's over Ayuk on my board. He's under Chenault right now, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if he has a better career, just because the acceleration that he has and the ability he has after the catch.
His 3-cone drill doesn't concern you? He had a pretty, I don't know if you saw it, but it was pretty rough. It was like DK Metcalf.
It was over 7 some seconds.
I might retract my statement. I didn't see the 3-cone.
But I believe he stumbled,
big.
so he looked like he overcompensated for the testing. He's one of them guys that I want to see him when he goes to his pro day.
Right.
If his numbers come back out that he's close to a 7 and his 3-cone, I'm not concerned at all about this workout.
I think this year might be the year because they moved it tonight to where those pro day numbers are going to matter a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that we've seen kind of slip up. There's a lot of people who just said they weren't going to run the 40 or they weren't going to do the bench, they weren't going to do this because it was at night. Why even bother? Which NFL agent's going to want to have their guy be the test dummy to see how this works?
Change it back.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Change it back.
Yeah. This whole
We should be watching the combine right now, which actually we're getting ready to start. But it should already be over, and then we should be getting into drinking mode. networking mode. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
But you're talking about wide receivers. We didn't even mention one of the best testers, and that's Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
We got a 4.38, and he shows it on the field too. He blows by people. He has a great length. He's able to go. His catch radius is almost as big as these 3 bay windows here. And I'm not even kidding. And the ability to keep his feet in bounds too. Not even 1 foot, but 2 feet at Baylor. It throws some shades of Josh Gordon out there that you can see. And his 3-cone was the best of yesterday. He ran a 6.66. Forgive me, Lord, for saying 6.66. But but it was just it just checked that box of the freak you've seen out in the field to there. And my other big tall tree, the Gandy man who can. Gandy Goldman.
My boy.
He was, and the only reason I say that is he has that alpha mentality when the ball is in the air. That's my ball. I don't care how much separation I have, how many defenders are around me. That's my ball, and he'll come down with it 95% of the time. And I know the one analyst said about Megatron. I'm not going to say Megatron, but his ability to win in contested catches. He might be pretty borderline there.
He's more AJ Green than Megatron to me.
He's just absolutely ridiculous. I think his upside is through the roof when you get him in an NFL offense and see what they can utilize. So both of them guys, the Mims, that second group, the second tier, the Ruggs, and even Chenault is in that group too for me because he needs a lot of refinement. He's in that second tier. You're not up there with the Ruggs and the Judy and.
Real quick, I want to touch on Chenault because he's been intriguing me lately, and not necessarily from a wide receiver aspect, just from a playmaker aspect. I think if an offense can get innovative with him in the sense that they just manipulate ways to get him the ball, because I saw all of his stuff after the catch. Before the catch, I was a little underwhelmed, but once it came to when he had the ball, he dominated. And you could see that in their offense because they line him up at wildcat or quarterback and running back and wide receiver. And or punt returner. Like, if you can give him the ball, he makes things happen.
What is the team that's going to utilize his skill set the most?
Chanel, I'll give you guys a.
Saints?
I want to see him play running back.
Right.
If you look at his physical profile and some of the information you can get, maybe not testing here, but what he's done in the past and when he's been completely healthy at Colorado, it's equivalent to Saquon Barkley.
That's
And his physical ability to run through tackles, like you said, they did a lot of wildcat with him, manufactured those touches. Maybe we see a transition from receiver to running back, and you see him become a complete player like that. You'd have to very dream.
No one's like Saquon Barkley.
No, but I'm saying if you look at his general height, weight, speed, and some of his stats, nobody's Saquon Barkley. I will preface it by saying that.
Lost Alex.
Quit.
In terms of which team, I think I mocked Chenault to the Packers in my most recent mock. And while they do need a receiver that can play now to make another run to the playoffs, I think having a playmaker like Chenault that you can move him all over the formation, like that offense needs to get more creative.
It'd almost be like a Cobb type fit where they were able to play.
Right,
everywhere.
exactly. Yeah, you need someone who can move around, play from the slot or outside or in the backfield, do kind of everything, just to open up the playbook for LaFleur and for Roger. So I like that fit.
Yeah, I think a Patterson type role would be perfect for him.
Yeah.
If Saints let Taysom Hill go, just put Chenault in that role. That's what I want. That's what I want. I mean, he only threw 10 passes the whole time. He's not even a quarterback. He's
I'm going to break news right now. I can tell you who the next Taysom Hill is, and he played at Mississippi State last year.
Yes, he did.
Tommy Stevens, the quarterback who transferred from Penn State. That guy, Tommy Stevens, his athletic profile, he's big boy. He ran as a running back. He caught passes. He played quarterback.
Yeah.
If you want a guy that's going to be undrafted, that's the guy you want to target for a Taysom Hill type role.
Yeah, he played wide receiver, tight end, running back, and quarterback.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
Yep.
And he's got a good arm. He's not going to be the starting quarterback, but he's got a good arm.
Nope, he's exactly what Taysom Hill is. He's never going to be a franchise quarterback. Sorry, Taysom.
Sorry, Sean.
He's going to be that gadget-type player that you can use, and he has experience already doing it at Penn State before he transferred to Mississippi.
I want to put athletes out there. I don't want to put quarterbacks out in this Taysom Hill role anymore. I want to put LaVisca Chenault. I want to put Antonio Gibson there. I mean, they're athletes. They can throw the ball. I'm comfortable they could throw a 30-yard pass. I'm comfortable they could throw a 5-yard hitch. I want to put them. Let's not limit that position, this kind of crazy flex Taysom Hill spot. I want to put some athletes out there. And I think if someoe's creative enough, they can really get a lot of utilization out of these Chenaults and
You
Gibsons.
showed me the fullback from Kennesaw State yesterday. I forgot his name.
Bronson Recksteiner, the Rick Steiner's son, the old wrestling legend and Big Papa Pump's Scott Steiner's nephew, I guess it would be. If you want to look at a fullback that plays nasty and his athleticism's out there, Kennesaw State, pop in his highlight tape once and you're going to be impressed. He's going to win for you on special teams immediately. And if you want a guy to run through a wall for you, that's your guy. And the ability we've seen him to pull away from people and catch passes.
I think his ability to be able to find someone in space to hit is super impressive too. I think it's kind of an underrated trait for some
Targeting acquiring a target at second level.
Finding someone he'll go out on a sweep, for example, with a running back, and he'll just pick a guy out. No one's around him. He'll pick a guy out, hit him dead on, put him on his ass.
Give them a right rushing lane that they can either cut inside out. That gives them that two-way go, and that's them hidden yards that you don't see in a guy like that that's going to contribute on special teams and get you another 3 yards on a play that maybe gets you 2.
I'd spend a 7th round pick on a special team stud.
Exactly. Every day of the week, right?
Absolutely. Let's get it.
Who wouldn't?
Joe Judge kind of player.
Go.
Let's go.
I haven't had a fullback in years. I remember the Madison Hedgecock days.
Madison Hedgecock. Wow.
Henry Hynoski.
Hey, that's my boy from Pitt, Henry Hynoski.
All right, guys. Well, I'd hate to cut this short, but we do have some combine drills to watch.
One question: with Chase Young announcing he will not live at the combine or the pro day, does it matter?
Nope.
No, absolutely not.
Have a wonderful weekend, Chase.
Same with Burrow.
If you have some free time, come on over.
Yeah, right.
Enjoy your off season. He doesn't need to lift a finger. He doesn't need to run. He doesn't need to do a single drill from now
already.
Have fun going your tour to all the different teams in the top 5.
Enjoy the Washington Redskins. You're fine.
As much as
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy that. Should have said that with a little more sarcasm in my voice. All right, guys, this has been the Blitz Breakdown presented by Blitzalytics.com, where scouting meets analytics and you meet the newest crop of off-field talent. We will be at SOS Club tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. I'm sure by the time you watch this, it'll already be over and you have missed everything, and it was going to be a ton of fun. I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to have a blast with or without you. Hope to see you there. We're going to have free t-shirts, stickers, jersey giveaways, all kinds of good stuff. So stay tuned for more NFL Combine coverage. Alexander, Ryan, Ashton, Mr. Roy Countryman, thank you guys very, very much for joining us. Let's see. Boom! Look at that.
Coming to a shop near you.
Yeah, get yourself one of those. These will be available on buyjack.com, by the way, along with all of our apparel, so check out our new apparel sponsor, buyjack.com. Blitz out.